actually to make this skirt. Honestly, it's so simple. Looking at this, I thought it was gonna be like really complicated. It's a bit time consuming, but genuinely really simple. I'm getting uncomfortable watching me pose now, so I'm just gonna move on. So you want to cut out two pieces. One is your waist measurement and seam allowance by 3 inches. Mine's a bit wider here. I just did it too wide, but I ended up taking it in the end, so I'll save you the time, just do 3 inches. And then the other piece is 3 times your waist measurement, add seam allowance by about 17 inches, but obviously like you can alter that depending on how long you want it to be. I think it's also worth saying, use your actual waist measurement. I know it sounds stupid because like obviously, but I always add on loads more because I always think, like, can't add, you can take away, but it's actually really hard to take this in because it's all pleated and there aren't side seams. So I ended up having to like resize all of the pleats on the back, well not all two, and then doing darts from the side as well. So just like use your actual waist measurement. Obviously like 3 times your waist measurement is quite a big piece of fabric, so you might have to do it in a few panels like I did. So you obviously want to sew them together. Also what I did here is I finished all 4 of the sides of the smaller piece and then one of the longer sides of the bigger piece. You obviously don't have to do this now, like you might want to try on the skirt and then decide you want to alter the length, but it will be a lot easier to hem it while it's not pleated. And so because I was hemming that, I decided to do the smaller piece now as well, but you obviously don't have to do that yet. Then this is like the only complicated bit. Basically you want to take your initial waist measurement and divide that by the number of pleats you want, and then that is going to be your the width of your pleats. But like be smart about it, like if your waist measurement is not a prime number, use that to your advantage. Mine was, so because it was a bit of an odd number and I didn't think I'd get it consistent every time, like I made a little slip of paper that was that distance so that I could like make sure the pleats are always the same size. You don't really have to do this bit if you like have faith in your cutting abilities, but I don't. I always mess up somewhere. So basically you don't want your pleats eating into your seam allowance because you know what the set amount of pleats is that you've got to fit into your waist measurement, if that makes sense. So I basically just like remeasured my piece of fabric and saw how much seam allowance you had. So like if you added on 2 inches seam allowance as a total, then you would, because it's 1 inch on either side, you would leave an inch before you started measuring your pleats. These are my measurements. If you can make sense of them, you probably can't because I can't make sense of them looking back on it now, but anyway. So using that bit of paper as like a template, I made a little cut where every like fold of a pleat will be, if that makes sense. So I think mine was every 1.45 inches, but you basically just want to make a little cut as a guide, so you, or mark it somehow, like you don't have to cut it. So this is probably like the most complicated part. I didn't film it very well, but basically just join up alternate slits and then almost like fold the fabric back on itself. I don't know, I think you'll get a feel for it, like once you start folding it you'll see that it looks like a pleat. Also I feel like now would be a good time to apologise for the state of my nails. They're just disgusting, so yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, oh, it looks like I also can't use a pin, so that's pretty fabulous, but hopefully you get the gist. So yeah, you're just gonna pin those pleats the whole way down the fabric. Also quite useful to use a fabric like this. It has like clear lines on it to help you like find the pleats, if that makes sense. So press any seams if you did have to join up panels like I did. But you need to iron like the whole way down the pleat. So if you don't have fabric like this with lines on it, then you might have to mark all the way down where like the distance of your pleats, if that makes sense. And also pin the first like 5 inches because you're going to sew down that part. Anyway, here's a cheeky little before and after for you. Wow, look at that, how ironed. So again, iron the whole pleat and then pin like the first 5 inches because that's where you'll sew. Yeah, so then you just sew down along the top just to hold all of those pleats in place. And then here I'm just marking down how long I want to sew down those lines just to make it easier when I actually sew. But I did end up making this a bit shorter because I recommend doing about 5 inches. I didn't take into account that like however far down you're sewing, that whole region is going to be like the same size as your waist. So for most people anyway, your bum is going to be a lot bigger than your waist. So if you do it too far down, like that whole area is restricted and you're not going to be able to get it over your bum. So just bear that in mind. And then, surprise, we're just going to sew down those lines. Yay. Well, this is irrelevant, but I just thought it was quite satisfying. So, enjoy. Now I'm sewing in the seam at the back. I don't know why I didn't show this pin, but for some reason I didn't. We're basically just sewing a seam down there. I did it a bit slanted just so it'll be a little bit more figure hugging, but obviously that's up to you. If you've done the pleats correctly, you may not have to, but like I said, I had to resize everything. So also, why does my hand look so awkward here? That's just really awkward. Anyways, then I was sewing in the zip, so I changed my foot to a zipper foot. Also, nobody told me that you need a zipper foot. I probably should have guessed that by the fact it's called a zipper foot, but I actually got a new sewing machine, so it's different from the first other video. Well done if you spotted that. Anyway, and he told me that you needed a zipper foot, which was, it was kind of good for my self-esteem, because I just thought I was really bad at sewing zips, because he was like, no, you can't sew a zip without a zipper foot. I did still sew it quite badly, but it's the first time using it, so I'm not going to beat myself up about it. But yeah, so you just sew in your zip. So I know this clip is showing nothing, but you basically just want to iron your waistband so that you can fold it over the fabric, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't really know. I know my waistband is kind of fat, but like I said, I did then go back and make it shorter. So but anyway, you just want to put the skirt up into the fold basically, and make sure it's all the way into the fold so you haven't got gaps. And then you just sew it, and that's it. Obviously make sure you go down next to the zip as well, not just along the bottom. And yeah. And ta-da! You are done. Oh no, that's so embarrassing. You know what? Editing this has made me realize I do peace signs way too much, so I'd like to apologize to everyone who knows me for doing that excessively. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.